At first glance, Black Mirror is a typical dystopia that shows that technologies make us stupid, weak, and lonely. But if we take a closer look, we will see that this is not science fiction, but a ruthless satire on modern society. Today, we'll try to get to the bottom of the dangers of technology and answer the question why Black Mirror tells the story of the present, but not the future. If you enjoy our movie and TV show breakdowns, subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and let us know what else you want to know about in the comments. Black Mirror is an anthology, so the episodes are unrelated. The characters and directors vary in each episode, yet they have something in common. Each episode reveals the attitude of the showrunner, Charlie Brooker, toward the main issue raised by the TV show, the human-technology interaction. Nowadays, we are surrounded by black mirrors, the screens of smartphones, tablets, laptops, TVs. We wake up with the alarm, spend our lives in front of laptops, and watch TV series before going to sleep. It seems that we perceive the world through screens. Marshall McLuhan, the Canadian sociologist and philosopher, argued that the channel of information transmission affects the message. He suggested dividing all media into two groups, cold and hot. Cold are those requiring the viewer to be attentive, engaged, and reflective. For example, cold media includes books. When we interact with hot media, the situation is quite the opposite. We receive information in a short, emotional, and entertaining way. This includes TV, cinema, and radio. Most modern media are hot. They easily capture our attention. So, when we receive information today, we observe the images on screen and don't think much about what we see. Brooker doesn't suggest anything new. Each episode is a thought experiment. What if existing technologies were refined and developed up to the highest point? Since technologies have a great influence on our lives, Black Mirror encompasses a large number of topics: digital control, cyber technologies, AI, virtual reality. This approach makes the plot extremely realistic and convincing, as modern culture tends to fear advanced technologies. Episode 1 of Black Mirror came as a bombshell. Terrorists kidnap the British princess and ask for one thing. The Prime Minister has to copulate with a pig live on TV. The rescue operation fails, so the Prime Minister agrees to this humiliating condition. TV channels ask people to turn off their TVs during the broadcast, but the viewers are so excited about the show that they actually miss the princess, who was released before the broadcast. This way, the hot media shifts the attention of the audience from the real political issue, the kidnapping of the princess, to the act of bestiality. Such a shift is called post-reality, according to the French postmodernist philosopher Jean Baudrillard. And post-reality is filled with simulacra, copies of things that don't exist in reality. The idea of political simulacra is also raised in the episode The Waldo Moment. The election is coming up, and among the candidates there is a blue animated bear named Waldo. He participates in debates, behaves aggressively towards his opponents, and gets unexpectedly popular. At least, people think he's honest. Brooker proves that if the audience is interested not in real actions, but in the image of a politician, then there is no difference between a living person and an animated bear. Brooker touches on the topic of democracy haters. What would happen if we entrusted political decision-making to the crowd? The director, however, made it clear. He is a misanthrope who long ago lost all hope for humanity. Black Mirror focuses not only on social and political issues, but also on existential ideas of life and death. Brooker works with the idea of digital immortality, a popular concept in modern philosophy and culturology. Andrew Hoskins, a famous memory studies researcher, claims that the internet, filled with living people, will soon turn into the internet of the dead. Facebook already has a graveyard of accounts of deceased users. But technology is becoming so advanced that it will allow people to remain present and communicate on social networks in no time. Today, you can add a special bot to the messenger that will copy your friend's communication manner. And when this person is gone, the bot will respond to you instead of them, and you can never tell the difference. This possibility raises many ethical questions. The phenomenon of death occupies one of the central places in philosophy. How was it perceived before? How has science changed our view of death? And why is God dead? We answer these and other questions in our course, Existentialism Explained. It will also give you an insight into the philosophy of love, beauty, consciousness, and language. The link to the course is in the description box. The Be Right Back episode is dedicated to death. It recounts the story of Martha. When her husband dies, she learns about a new technology that allows you to create digital copies of people based on their social media accounts. Martha starts chatting with her husband's copy and uploads information about his voice and appearance so she can talk to him on the phone or via video chat. The digital copy then explains to Martha how to transfer his consciousness into a synthetic body. Martha does it and goes on living with an android. Although he looks and acts like her lover, Martha still knows he is not her husband. The thing is, androids lack existential experience. It doesn't feel a thing and acts the way Martha wants to be treated, not according to its own will. And this makes it strikingly different from a person. The episode San Junipero is set in a real digital paradise, a town with the never-ending 80s vibe, good weather, and parties. That's where Yorkie and Kelly meet. They turn out to be digital avatars of real women. In reality, Kelly has cancer, and Yorkie is paralyzed and put on life support. They can transfer their consciousness to a virtual paradise to stay there after death. What if this is the afterlife of the future, consciousness uploaded to some device? Scientists are trying to imitate what the human brain can do, and San Junipero may be closer than it seems. The modernist era was a time of technological optimism. Thinkers of that time put forward utopian ideas of the future. But then it was replaced by postmodernism, bringing cyberpunk and phobia of the future to the fore. Science fiction writers of the 20th century reflected on the idea that technology might not only improve our lives, but also spoil it. Back then, people were afraid of an AI takeover that would enslave people. Lately, we have been more concerned with the idea of digital slavery. The world is turning into a global village where everyone is watching each other. The 20th century French philosopher Michel Foucault believed that true power lies not in violence and force, but in control. A person should feel they are being watched. There are surveillance cameras and facial recognition systems everywhere, and our social media accounts give out too much information about us. And if we are being watched, we are judged. The Nosedive episode shows a world where everything is determined by social rating. People rate each other, and it affects whether a person gets to rent an apartment, buy a plane ticket, and even whether others will communicate with them. Those with a low rating become outcasts because being friends with them lowers the rating of other people. An example of this system is the social credit system in China, although stories about it are largely based on myths and fakes. But social ratings do exist. We rate our taxi drivers, employers do background checks of our social media, and bloggers' advertising contracts depend on likes and comments. Charlie Brooker doesn't attempt to scare us with the circumstances of technological advancement. On the contrary, he contemplates the essence of man. He agrees with the idea pronounced by the philosopher Thomas Hobbes: two dogs over one bone seldom agree. Technology doesn't corrupt people. It's people who are imperfect. Technology is nothing more than a tool that a person uses, and it is the person who chooses how to use it. Even if we forget about the technologies shown in the series, it won't change much. For example, Archangel tells the story of a woman who controls her daughter using a special device. She'd still do that even if she didn't have it. According to Brooker, technology does not create anything entirely new. It just reveals the features we already have. He allows us to look in the mirror, and we see not the future, but ourselves. Do you like the video? Give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comments what you think about this series. Which episode is your favorite?